Hi, guys. How's it going? Make sure everything's working. Mic's on. Music is good. I'll be right there. Let me pop out I'm going to pop out the chat so I can see it. Here we go. Pop out the chat. Let's make this chat big. Let's make it big. There we go. So how do I got Derek, how's it going? Derek, how's it going? James, Steven, you guys ready for the Choose Your Own Adventure book? Yeah. I can't wait. So tonight, what the book is going to be, I will show you right now. Do. All right, the book is going to be that we are reading. All right, the book is going to be The Vietnam War, an interactive modern history adventure. You could definitely check it out on Amazon. I have the link in the description. As you can see, there are 3 story paths, 47 choices, and 20 different endings. So hopefully tonight we'll be able to get through a couple of the endings. Kyle, you can watch up until Survivor, man. They have to make choices in Survivor. You can make choices here. So this is the book we're going to be reading. Every single time that it comes time to make a choice, I'm going to pause. And what's going to happen is we're going to go to a scene that looks like this. I'm going to be writing choice A and choice B. And then in the chat, you guys will be deciding what choice you want to pick. And then I'm going to go with what the chat decides. I will decide what they decide. So hi, Mr. Shower. It's good to see you. Are you guys getting excited? I'm kind of excited, honestly. I feel good. All right, I got my Kindle right here. There she is. All right, let's get started right away since it's a book. And it's going to be a long book. It's actually not that long. But considering that I have to go back and forth, make decisions, we have to, as a chat, right? We have to make decisions and then, come back to it and kind of read. I think it's going to take a while. So here we go. How's the audio sound? Does everything sound good? I did forget to do one thing. So I'm going to throw that up right now. 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'll even talk to you while this is happening. Just want to, where are you? Where is it? Nope, here it is. All right, here we go. Get some background music going. And we'll bring this back. There we go. And we should be good now, right? Everything's good? All right, so Vicky, hi. So I guess as people fill in, they could jump in the current ones, but we're gonna get started. This is the name of this book right here is The Vietnam War, an interactive modern history adventure. So here we go. We're gonna start this out. About your adventure. You are living through one of the worst wars in U.S. history. The center of the conflict is in Vietnam. But fighting also takes place in the neighboring countries of Laos and Cambodia. In this book, you'll explore how the choices people made meant the difference between life and death. The events you'll experience happen to real people. Chapter 1 sets the scene, then you choose which path to read. Follow the links at the bottom of each page. After you finish one path, go back and read the others. So if we die or if we don't make it too fast, we're going to go back and we're going to try to do it the right way. So hopefully the chat, I'm looking at you, chat, make good decisions. Chapter 1 sets the scene. Then you choose which path to read. I already read that. So use your device's back button. So I'll be using the Kindle to kind of jump around in the Choose Your Own Adventure. All right. So here we go. You excited? I'm excited. Here we are. Chapter 1, War in Vietnam. Vietnam was once part of a colony of France called Indochina. Vietnam declared independence in 1945, with Ho Chi Minh as its leader, but the French wouldn't give up their colony. In 1946, a war began that lasted until 1954. The Vietnamese won the war and their independence. The United States supported France against Vietnam. After World War II, from 1939 to 1945, the Cold War had begun. As the United States and the Soviet Union competed for power, the Soviets wanted to spread communism around the world. Americans wanted to stop the spread of communism because it denied people's political and economic freedom. Ho Chi Minh wanted Vietnam to be a communist country. So I guess we're setting the stage here. How's it going in the chat? Everything good? All right, here we go. When the war with France ended, Vietnam was split. Ho Chi Minh's communist government controlled the north, while a government friendly to the United States controlled the south. The U.S. government wanted to keep South Vietnam out of communist hands. North Vietnam supported the National Liberation Front, or the NLF, a political group in the south. The NLF's military wing was called the Viet Cong. The NLF wanted to unite the country under Ho. In 1959, the Viet Cong launched a war against South Vietnam. Meanwhile, the United States had been supporting South Vietnam since it was formed in 1954. The U.S. provided money and military training. By 1963, about 16,000 military troops were there acting as advisors to the South Vietnamese military in its fight against the Viet Cong. President Lyndon Johnson sent the first American ground combat forces to South Vietnam in 1965. Within 3 years, the number had increased to 536,000. By then, North Vietnamese troops were actively working with the Viet Cong to fight the Americans and the South Vietnamese. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union and the Communist nation of China sent billions of dollars in aid and weapons to North Vietnamese. For Americans, the Vietnam War presented several challenges. TV crews went to the battlefield. Some Americans were shocked to see the violence of the war on TV. Some people began to protest what they saw as an immoral war. Others supported the country's military role in Vietnam, believing in the need to fight communism. So there's a lot of background information here. Many young people fought and died on all sides in the Vietnam War. You will have to decide, so our first choice is coming up. You will have to decide whether to take part in the war. You could be forced to kill the enemy or face being killed. So here's our first choice, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so the choices are you ready? Ooh, I'm kind of excited here. I don't know, kind of excited. The choices are, you can be an American volunteer. So if you want to be an American who volunteers to fight in the war, that's option A. Option B, you're going to be a South Vietnamese teenager who's not sure which side to support, whether the American side or the North Vietnamese side. So you can be an American who volunteers to fight, or you can be a South Vietnamese teenager. Or you can be an American who opposes the war. So those are your choices. We have 3 choices, okay? So let's go to our choice screen real quick. Where's my choice screen? Here it is. All right, so let's make this a little bit bigger. So the first choice is kind of one of the more important ones, right? Because we have 3 choices here, which is kind of cool. So the first choice is be an American who wants to fight. All right, B is be a South Vietnamese teen who is unsure about which side to support. All right, so as you guys are thinking about this, I want you in chat to kind of posting. If you have an opinion, definitely post. And then C, right, is to be an American opposed to war. Those are our 3 choices, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna give it a couple minutes, and we have, all right, so let's take a look. We have A, We got a bunch of A's, 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 A's. We got one C from Steven. I like it. Please do A. Derek is A. All right, hold on. Derek's spamming a lot of A's, which makes the A's look a lot. Hold on. Alex is B. What do we got here? Ryan. All right, so we have Ryan and Derek are A. Steven is now A. Steven is all over the place. Steven's A, Steven's C. I'm confused. Vicky, you're A? All right, so I think we're going to do an A here. All right? All right, we got straw poll. No, it's gone. All right, so we're going to go. We're going to choose A. Destiny, you pick C. So let's go over this again, right? Be an American who wants to fight. Be a South Vietnamese teen who is unsure which side to support. Or be an American opposed to the war. JJ, who would you pick? Opposed means against the war.
I don't know. To be honest, I would say for the book, A.
A. So JJ's going with A.
Like that you get to do more.
All right, I think we made our choice, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go with A. We are going to go with A. Woo! All right, here we go. You guys excited? We're going to A. Here we go. All right. So we are to be an American who volunteers to fight. Here we go. Serving your country. In 1965, it's 1965 and you've been in college for 2 years, but you want to volunteer for the Marines. Your father was a Marine during World War II, and you want to serve your country too. You convince your friend John to enlist with you. The Marines accept you both. You travel to San Diego, California for boot camp. After boot camp, you receive more training. One day, you are asked to join an aviation unit. You assumed you would be in the infantry, like John is, but it could be exciting to learn how to work with helicopters and maybe even fly them. So that's exciting. All right, so here we go. Marine recruits march in step during boot camp training. So we have another decision to make here. We get to work with helicopters, or we get to stay with John, our friend, in the infantry. So let's take a look at our list here, right? All right, so let's delete these. We're gonna, work with helicopters. Which I misspelled because I'm leaning over my microphone. Work with helicopters, or B, stay with our friend John in the infantry. Whew, I don't know, guys. This one's a little tough because you don't want to leave your friend. Like your friend is all you have, but at the same time, I think working with helicopters is pretty cool. So it's A or B now. No, our friend is in the infantry. We've been invited to work with helicopters. So it's A or B. We work with helicopters alone, or we stay with our friend John in the infantry. What do you guys think? Guys, if you don't... Ryan, I know you're trying to be funny with all the letters, but it just confuses me. So try to keep it to the topics. What do we think? What do we think? I'm not seeing anything, guys. A or B? What do we got? All right, here we go. All right, A, B, B. Let's count them up. B, B. Destiny, what do you want to do? B. Mr. Shower says B. Steven says A. Derek says A. Alex says B. I'm going... Chernus is in the chat. Chernus says A. Ooh, I don't know. Stay with a friend?
I say
All right, I think we're gonna stay with our friend. I feel this is bad. Infantry is not gonna end well for us. But all right, we're gonna go with B. B is the final choice. B's the final choice here. All right, here we go. We're gonna stay in the infantry. Here we go. You guys ready? All right. I hope we make it. Here we go. The sergeant is glad that you wanted to do The sergeant is glad that you wanted to do the hard work of a grunt. You finished your training at the end of 1965. The first Marines have landed in South Vietnam, and more keep arriving. Finally, you and John get your assignments. You're both part of the 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. Soon you make the long journey from the United States to a Marine base in Da Nang, South Vietnam. South Vietnamese troops are also based there. You learn how some of the Vietnamese live. Many of them work at Da Nang and other U.S. bases. At night, shells fired from some of their villages land near the base. Why are they firing at us, you ask your sergeant named Rizzo. There are VC there, and in most of the villages around here, he says. And now the NVA are coming into the area too. The NVA stands for North Vietnamese Army. They are well-equipped forces from North Vietnam, fighting with the Viet Cong. The Marine commanders are trying to win the support of the civilians. The goal is to convince the local people that the United States will help and protect them from the VC and improve their lives. We're starting a new program, Rizzo tells you. It's called County Fair, part of the CAP, the Marines Combined Action Program. Do you want to take part? You want to help win what some Americans call the hearts and minds of the South Vietnamese, but the rest of your company is about to head north. It would be good to stick with your buddies. All right, so here we go. We've been invited to, take part in CAP, the county fair. So we've been invited to take part in the county fair and try to win the minds of the South Vietnamese to support the United States, or we can stay with our unit and head north into North Vietnam, I'm assuming where some of the heavy fighting is, but at least we'll be with our buddies. So the choices are A or B. Here we go. All right, so A, right? A is to leave our friends and try and change the hearts of the South Vietnamese. Or we can stay with our friend in the infantry and go north. All right, A and B, here we go. What do we got? Derek's got a straw poll going. Let's click on the straw poll, see where it takes us. All right, take part in the CAP, stay with the unit up north. What do you guys want to do? I'm going to vote for my son, JJ. He says B. Go with the fight, stay with the unit, go up north. All right, we'll give it like 30 seconds. This is, I don't know. I feel like if we head up north, it's going to be dangerous and there's a chance we might die. But if I was thinking of me in real life, I think I would want to stay with my friends, you know? You're overseas fighting a war. I don't think I would want to be alone. Yeah, well, that's sad. All right, so let's take a look. We're going to vote here and then we're going to look at the results. All right, look at this. B is winning with 73%, so we're going B. B it is, guys. Here we go. We're going to keep moving. All right, B it is. Stay with your company and go north. I want to stay with the company, you say, looking at John. He smiles. You're taking part in Operation Hastings. The U.S. commanders want to stop the North Vietnamese from launching a major invasion. Your company is part of the first wave of Marines to land near the NVA position on July 15th. Hear that, John says to you over the whirl of helicopter blades? They're shooting at us. We're going into the hot LZ. You listen to the machine gun fire, frightened about facing combat for the first time. But you have a job to do, and you're ready to do it. Hooah! The Marines call for artillery to attack the NVA, and the enemy fire finally stops. You and the other companies receive an order to take a nearby hill. You've gone only a short way when the NVA mortar shells begin to land all around you. It's like blowing up all around you. Be care! John starts to say to you, but before he can finish, enemy machine gun fire cuts him down. You want to cry, seeing your good friend die in front of you. But before you can do anything, an enemy bullet pierces your right shoulder. You fall to your knees. Pull back, the sergeant says, as a massive NVA force begins to swarm toward your commander. As you struggle to stand, artillery fire from the Marines begins to hit the advancing enemy. The NVA duck for cover, and in that moment you start to run. In a second, you feel another bullet hit you in the leg. Oh! And then another. You fall again. The artillery shelling stops. The Marine gunners must think they've wiped everyone out, or else are running low on ammo. You hear a noise behind you. You can turn just enough to see 3 enemy soldiers approaching. Uh-oh, he's getting nervous. They gesture for you to get up. They're not going to kill you. They want to take you prisoner. You've heard the stories about what happens to American POWs. You'll be lucky if the North Vietnamese treat your wounds, and most likely they'll torture you. You'll have to be strong and try to escape the prison camp if you can. With some luck, you can still survive the war and get home to see your loved ones. Whew! So, that's the end. That's it right there.
Wait, that's it?
That's it. We were captured prisoner, and we have to try to escape, I guess, or we're probably gonna die. I would think. I think that's bad. I think I think we failed.
I wish that there was like a number so you could go to the end and see if it was good or bad.
I know. I guess we're gonna follow another path here, but it's a little sad that yeah, that's a little. I don't know. It's a little sad that we died. We didn't die. We got captured, but still. I mean, I guess we could look up the statistic of how many soldiers who get captured actually got to make it home. All right, so we're gonna choose a different path now. Now we're down to 2 choices here. We can be a South Vietnamese teenager who is not sure what side to support, or we can be a young American who opposes the war. What do you guys think? Young American that opposes the war, or a soldier that let's see. So we're gonna put here young American who opposes the war, and this is a South Vietnamese teen who is unsure. And I also want to put down here. We're gonna keep down here our first path failed with us getting caught. And caught, we became a POW. All right. So let's go to Derek straw poll and let's see. Derek, I appreciate you helping out, by the way. I guess we could be the American who, again, and just choose a different path, like go work with helicopters.
I learned from all these books that I ever read.
Yeah.
That one decision, if you fail or win, one decision is gonna change everything.
All right, we're gonna stick with these 2 for now, though. Maybe at the end we can go back.
Yeah.
All right, so Jay, who do you want to do? Do you want to do an American who opposes the war, or a South Vietnamese teenager who's unsure about the war?
I say B.
B. All right, so my son is picking a South Vietnamese.
It's best to just be the action.
All right, I think. Oh, it's close. I'm gonna give it a few more moments. Take a sip of drink.
Oh, it's literally how to play. Oh.
Oh, it flipped.
Oh my god.
It's so exciting, guys.
Yeah, this is literally the most exciting part of the entire thing.
So exciting.
Just watching that wheel spin is the most exciting thing.
I know. I kind of want to go back and be the helicopter guy, but we're gonna do it later.
Because I think that the path that will literally change.
Yeah.
Because the path that would change everything is like, are you going to go north and leave your friends, or go south with your friends?
Yeah. Alex, does that mean you can't vote because you're on your phone? Because if that's the case, tell us what your vote is, and I'll make a vote for you. Alex is B. All right, so we're gonna go with B. We're gonna be the South Vietnamese. This should be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of excited about this. I don't know. This is gonna be exciting. All right, here we go. Back in the library. Here we are. We are gonna be a South Vietnamese teen who's not sure which side to support. Whew, which side? You are a teenager living in a small village not far from Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam. For generations, your Buddhist relatives have grown rice here. It's early in 1963, and your family has been touched by the long wars that have divided Vietnam. Your uncle supports Ho Chi Minh and isn't shy about saying so. Your brother is a soldier in South Vietnam's army, which is known as the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. He's fighting the Viet Cong. The fighting is spreading, and South Vietnam needs more soldiers. President Ngo Dinh Diem has called for all men younger than 28 who have graduated from high school to receive basic military training. You never finished high school because your parents needed your help on the farm, but you see troops stationed nearby. Some are Buddhist like you, others are Roman Catholic like President Diem. Your father worries about the spreading violence. The Viet Cong threaten local farmers to give help or to be killed. One day your father says to you, "It's not safe for you here. We want you to go to Saigon to live with your aunt." "But what about the farm?" you ask. "And all your friends are here in the village." But then you think that it might be exciting to live in a big city like Saigon. All right, our first choice. Do we move to Saigon and live with our aunt, or do we ignore our father and we stay in the village, helping on the farm and staying with our friends? Move to Saigon or stay in the village?
This is one of the choices that would change everything.
This is, yeah, it's a huge choice right here.
Because whenever you have to go somewhere different.
Big choice here, big choice. All right, let's go, right? Stay in village. Move to Saigon. Those are our choices, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check out a Derek straw poll. Here we go. I kind of want to stay in the village, but at the same time, I'm kind of scared to not listen to Dad. You know, like I kind of feel like Dad knows best, right? I'm his son, and he kind of knows what's going on. So I feel like I should kind of listen to Dad. I don't know.
To be honest, I just listen. I just do whatever makes me feel happy.
Yeah. All right, Jay, you want to move to Saigon, live with your aunt, or do you want to stay in the village with your friends?
This is a hard one.
You got to make a choice. I choose? All right, I'm going to go to Saigon. Woo! Looks like Saigon's winning, Jay. Saigon is winning. All right, 7 votes. I think that takes it away, guys. I think we're staying in Saigon. I mean, we're going to Saigon. All right, here we go. I'm excited now. Back in the library. Here we go. All right. Go to Saigon. Your parents and your little brother bow, cry, and hug you as you prepare to go. Soon you pack your clothes and you climb into a wagon. It takes you to the nearest bus station, and you begin your trip to Saigon. In the capital, the streets are filled with cars and taxis rushing by. You reach your Aunt Lynn's house and ask her what people in Saigon think of the war. "Oh, we're not bothered by it much here," she says. "Most of the fighting is far away." One day in June, you were shocked as you hear Lynn talking about something she read in the paper. "A Buddhist monk set himself on fire yesterday," she tells you. "He was protesting the policies of President Diem." She explains that Diem favors the small minority of Catholics in the country over the Buddhists, who make up the majority. And government troops recently killed some Buddhists who were demanding their religious freedom. Lynn says Diem only wants power and money for him, his family, and his supporters. Your parents decided you should go back to school in Saigon. One day you hear some of the older students talking about President Diem. "He's a tyrant," one says. "My older brother's working with the Viet Cong to end his rule." "But the communists are no better," another boy protests. "They kill innocent people all the time." "They only kill people who won't fight against President Diem," the first boy says. "I want to help the Viet Cong." He turns to you. "What about you? Will you help us fight President Diem?" You don't like the president's orders. You don't like that President Diem ordered attacks on Buddhists. But you're not sure it's right to leave school and fight the government. What do you do? Choice. Do you go with the student and help fight a war against the corrupt South Vietnamese president, Diem? Or do you stay in school? I feel like there's obviously... What would you do? Don't say that. That's terrible. All right, so here we go. Let's get our choice up here. This one's a little tough, right? This one is stay in school, which I feel like is the peaceful option. And this one is to join the forces to fight against the South Vietnamese president. I don't know, guys. Whew. I feel like I understand why they would want to fight against Diem, but it's awfully dangerous. I don't know. Yeah, President Diem, he's the South Vietnamese president. All right, let's check out Derek's straw poll. Stay in school, join the forces to fight against the South Vietnamese. What do you think?
I say go out.
You say go and fight? I feel like we're gonna die if we go and fight. I really do.
Well, what's the point?
It's just super dangerous. I mean, I guess if we stay in school, like, Saigon could be attacked. But your aunt did say that it was pretty peaceful in Saigon. So I don't know, guys.
Nothing's gonna happen. They're just gonna ignore us.
So you want to go, you want to join the forces and fight?
Yeah.
All right, we're picking B
Nothing
here.
else is gonna happen.
We're going to pick B.
Yeah,
Woo! B is winning.
Oh my!
B is winning.
Oh my gosh! What? No, I think stay in school now.
Oh, we can't change our vote. Seriously. I don't know, I'm getting nervous. One more vote and we go. If it's 4B. What's it gonna be, fellas and ladies? Destiny, you still in chat? What's your choice? Oh, that was a vote. Uh-oh, stay in school is coming back. B. I don't know, guys. This is close. 6-5. You're playing video. Destiny, what are you playing video? What games are you playing? Well, tell me your vote, Destiny, and I will vote for you. You want to stay in school or go fight the president? Alright, Steven votes for A. Inside Out, back and get in the game. I know. A. Alright, well, I guess we're going to stay in school, Jay. I think with Destiny's vote and Steven's vote, it went 7-6. Yeah. Oh! Oh, I don't know. This is tie.
How about you just choose that?
I think I'm going to have to just choose this one, guys. I think we're just going to join the forces at 7-5. I think even with Destiny's vote and Steven's, I think it's a tie. So I'm going to go with B. B it is. We're going to join the forces. We're going to fight the president, guys. Here we go, back in the library. Alright, we're going to die, by the way. This is not good. Here, go with the other students. Here we go. I'll go with you. The student smiles and tells you his name is Trang. He takes you to meet his older brother, Heen. The Viet Cong is like any army, Heen explains. It needs intelligence to learn what the enemy is doing. When you can go to where the Americans work and live, talk to the Vietnamese who work for them, learn from them what the military is doing. If anyone gets suspicious, lie to them. Even lie to your aunt. If you have to, we must do anything to win and defeat President Diem. At night, you begin going to bars where Americans go. You talk to the Vietnamese girls who sit with them. You say to one, if you hear anything about the army and where it might be going, let me know. Why? She asks. Are you some kind of spy? No, you lie. I support President Diem and the Americans. I'm just curious about the war. She walks away, but you wonder if you're making a mistake. You don't know anything about gathering intelligence. As you start to leave, you see the girl return with an ARNV soldier. You, the soldier calls out, come here. You approach the soldier and he grabs your arm. Why are you asking so many questions? My brother is in the army, you say. I never hear from him. I just wanted to know what was going on. Come with me, the soldier says. He begins dragging you down the street. Maybe he will take you to a military office and question you. But most likely he will torture you because he thinks you are with the Viet Cong. You wish you had never left your home and come to Saigon. I knew it. That's the end, guys. We were captured again. Listen, we're 2 for 2. The end. We're 2 for 2 for getting imprisoned and tortured, by the way. I just want to point that out. Both times we were tortured.
Wait a second, I have an idea.
What? Oh, don't
What if we reset?
Well, we can check it out at the end.
I was gonna say, why don't we just go back a step?
Derek, he didn't kill us. He thought we were part of, which we were, by the way. So he thought we were part of the Viet Cong, which we ended up being part of the Viet Cong. And he basically interrogated us and tortured us. So it doesn't say if we died, but pretty much it says that we died. Let's follow one more path, shall we? We're going to be an American who opposes the war. So here we go. To be a young American who opposes the war. Oh, wait, I gotta adjust my thing. Hold on. I just want to keep track of our outcomes here. All right. Second path. We were captured. And tortured. Which is very similar to the first path. The stress. The stress. All right, here we go. Let me. Sorry about the camera. There we go. All right. Back to the library. All right, here we go. To fight or not, we are an American who opposes the war. It's the summer of 1968, and you've recently graduated from high school. In the fall, you work in your father's machine shop. Most of your friends, though, will be going to college. It's the easiest way to get a deferment, your friend Bobby says. I don't want to be drafted and get sent to Vietnam. Like other young men, you and Bobby registered for the military draft on your 18th birthday. More than 1 million young men have been drafted since you started high school, but guys like Bobby who go to college can delay getting drafted. The deferments have not stopped many young people from protesting the war. The first major protest began in 1965. On TV, you saw young men burning their draft cards. They did this to show they opposed the war and didn't want to go to Vietnam. Several thousand young men burned their cards even after Congress made it illegal. You believe it's wrong to kill people who don't pose a direct threat to the United States. But you never protested the war. You couldn't be sure that North Vietnam didn't pose a threat to South Vietnam and end the region. The war, though, has been going on much longer than people had hoped. President Lyndon Johnson had announced on March 31st, 1968, he would not run for president again, largely because of his failure to win the war. He also announced the start of peace talks. That means his party, the Democratic Party, has to choose a new candidate for president at its summer convention in Chicago. There are going to be a huge protest against the war in Chicago, Bobby tells you one day. Bobby has gone to several local marches to protest the war. My sister and I are going to Chicago, Bobby says. Will you come with us? You could be arrested if you protest, but you know Americans are dying in Vietnam. You could soon be one of them. So, our first choice, do we go with Bobby and we protest the war? Or do we stay home? And, by the way, possibly, I guess, get drafted. Doesn't say that, but I feel that way. So choice A is go with Bobby and protest, and choice B is to stay home.
Can you hear me, Dad?
I can hear you.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, you think so? Go with
That's risky as well.
Bobby and protest in Chicago. Which Chicago. Or is it B, stay home? Those are our choices, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the choices. Destiny's voting for A. Protest with Bobby. Let's see what we do. Considering that we got captured twice and tortured twice, I feel like if we protest, we're going to get arrested. I just feel like that's where this book is heading.
It feels like it's like there's only one good ending. Every other
I know. How do you get the good ending? I bet the helicopter pilot was a good ending.
because I think that every
Steven's right. We did die every time we left. I think it's good to show you at war, it's best to just stay home and protect yourself. What do we think, guys? Give you a couple more minutes to do a couple 10 seconds. I think it's clear that we're protesting with Bobby here.
is that risky? Or do you think that's risky?
I think no. I mean, neither of these is so. I know a lot of Americans protested the war. I don't think every option leads to torture. I don't. All right, so I guess we're protesting with Bobby. We made that choice. We're doing it. We are protesting with Bobby. Here we go. Back in the library. Whew, protesting with Bobby. Here we come. I'll go, you say. But what will I tell my parents? Bobby explains that he and his sister Rosemary are going to stay with an aunt who lives just outside of Chicago. She has a room for you too. That night, you tell your parents about Bobby's invitation to go with him and Rosemary to Chicago. They think it's a great idea for you to travel before you start working. You don't say anything about protesting. You, Bobby, and Rosemary take the train and reach Chicago on August 25th. The convention starts the next day. At times, it feels like a party. Thousands of protesters fill Lincoln Park and listen to bands. Thousands of police and National Guard are in the city too. Police helicopters circle overhead. The police will arrest anybody who disobeys the law or becomes violent. When the park closes for the night, the police order the protesters to leave. Some refuse. You see a cloud of smoke fill the air and your eyes start burning. It's tear gas, Rosemary says. Should we run? I came here to protest the war, Bobby says. You can run if you want to, but I'm staying. Me too, Rosemary adds. You see police swinging their clubs at the protesters, but if you leave your group, you'll be alone in a big, strange city. All right, so do we stay with Bobby and Rosemary and stay in the park and possibly get arrested? Or do we turn and run? Woo! The gas is tear gas. Sometimes the police officers would use tear gas in a crowd to make the crowd kind of leave. So do we run? B is run. Or do we stay with Bobby and Rosemary? Stay. Now remember, staying with Bobby means that we're breaking the law. Whew. Yeah, I don't know, man. To be arrested or just be in a city for a night. I don't. You could technically get back to the aunt's house. I mean, I'm sure like she's not gonna lock you out because you're not with Bobby. Chicago is the Windy City. Make sure to like this video as Stephen Buff suggests. So, Destiny wants to stay with Bobby and possibly get arrested. I like that, Destiny. It's tough. I like it. Jay, what's your vote on this one? Derek, that link doesn't work, bud. Yeah, I think I'm going with JJ on this one. I think I might run. So we're voting for run here. Here we go. Run for the night. Exciting stuff. Get my wire. This is a close one, 4-3 so far. I feel like staying and protesting is probably like the right thing to do, you know, but I as a teenager, your parents don't know you're there protesting. I feel like running might be the best option. All right. One more vote and we're going with it. If it's for run. I feel like now I kind of wish we voted for stay. I got to be honest with you.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like staying with Bobby is the right thing to do. I mean, you went all the way to Chicago. 10 more seconds. Destiny voted for stay. So it's actually 5-4 because she's not voting on the poll. I don't know. It's a little stressful. All right, I guess I've given it enough time. We are going to run. That's what won, right? We're running. You guys, this is crazy, you say. Let's go. We're staying, Rosemary says, and she and Bobby run off into the crowd. You leave the park and search for the train station. You plan to stay there overnight and find Bobby and Rosemary in the morning. While you walk, you see more police everywhere, swinging their clubs. Some of their targets are protesters, but others are local people who just happen to be outside. Suddenly, you feel something smack you in the back of your head. You've been hit. You fall to the street bleeding. Ah! A man comes up out of his apartment and pulls you onto his front steps. We better call an ambulance, he says. There's a lot of blood. Uh-oh. Blaring sirens fill the air as police attack the protesters. You hope your friends are okay, and you'll see him tomorrow at their aunt's. You understand why people oppose the Vietnam War, but protesting against it is something you'll never do again. That's it. I know. That's it. We just got hit in the head and we're fine. It doesn't even say if Bobby or Rosemary made it back or got arrested. That's kind of a bust. I don't know. Yeah, hold on. We're going back. We're going to go back and be a helicopter pilot. I know. All right, here we're going back. We're joining the war here. So I need to fix this. Hold on. So our last one is we got hit over the head. Probably got a scar for the rest of our life.
That scar's not as bad as getting captured into it.
I know. Here we go. Third path. We lived, but got hit in the head. Like, are there any, like, good ways to get out of the Vietnam War here? I know. All right, back to the library. Let's go back to the library. Here we go. All right, so back in the library. We have to choose the action choices. All right, here we go. Serving, we're now the American who volunteered for war, okay? And I'm just going to read this over again before we get to the helicopter part, right? No, yeah. Yep, here we go. It's short. It's 1965 and you've been in college for 2 years, but you want to volunteer for the Marines. Your father was a Marine during World War II, and you want to serve your country too. You convince your friend John to enlist with you. The Marines accept you both. You travel to San Diego, California for boot camp. After boot camp, you receive more training. One day, you're asked to join an aviation unit. You assumed you would be in the infantry, like John, but it could be exciting to learn how to work with helicopters, maybe even fly them. All right, here we go. We're choosing helicopters. There's no vote on this one. I'll give the helicopters a try, you say. You tell John your decision. He wishes you well as you leave for more training in Tennessee. There you learn all about the engines that keep the choppers flying. You'll also learn that if you go to Vietnam, you won't just fix engines. There is a good possibility you'll be part of a helicopter crew and maybe fire one of its guns at the enemy below. As the summer of 1965 approaches, you finish your training. By now, thousands of Marines have been sent to South Vietnam, and you receive orders to go to. You'll be part of a Marine air group based in Chu Lao. Your title is crew chief. You use your new skills to keep the helicopters in top shape. The Marines use a helicopter known as a Huey. Various types of Hueys are used to bring troops and supplies into battle. rescue wounded Marines, and attack enemy positions. Word spreads in August 1965 that the Viet Cong have bases near Chu Lao. The U.S. generals in the region plan an attack. One of your new buddies is a pilot named Stu. "Are you ready to go out and kill some VC?" he asks. VC is slang for Viet Cong. Some American troops also call them Charlie. "I'm ready to do whatever I have to do for my country," you say. Your commanding officer talks to your squadron on August 17th. He explains that choppers will be taking troops to 3 landing zones. Gunships will also be used to attack the VC. Finally, some helicopters will be used as medvacs. They'll come in to pick up the wounded. You've had some training for those missions too. The medvac flights have a pilot, co-pilot, medic, and a crew chief. As the crew chief on a medvac, you would help the medic bring the wounded on board. The officer looks at you. "Do you care which kind of bird you'll be on?" Stu will be flying a Huey, taking troops into the battle zone. You'll like to go with them, but you like the idea of rescuing the wounded too. So now we have our first choice. This one's awesome, by the way. We have our first choice of the helicopter. We can hang out with Stu and go into the war zone. Or we can fly a medevac helicopter and help carry wounded. So let's go back to our thing. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna go stay with Stu. Or we can fly medical. Is Kyle still in chat? Kyle, you got 8 minutes to Survivor, man. Go with Stu or help save people. I feel like, in a way, going with Stu is obviously a little bit more dangerous, but it's also dangerous going in with medevac helicopters. So I don't really know. Jay, do you want to help people or do you want to go into the war zone? We're going to vote for help save people. Hopefully we don't become a prisoner and get tortured this time. Well, no, we're helping American soldiers who get hurt in the battle.
Oh. I don't know, to be honest.
You don't know?
Is it too late?
Yeah, I already voted. I feel like the helicopter one's the best story, so it's the most action-packed. Hey, Lego boy over there, make a lot of noise.
What?
My son's playing with Legos. You can probably hear it. All right, we're going to go with help save people. Here we go. Back to the library. Back to the library we go. All right, here we go. We're going to help save people. All right. I'll go on the medvac, you say. You tell Stu. Then find the rest of your new crew. The corpsman, George, has stocked the Huey with bandages and other medical supplies. Several hours later, the first transport choppers left for the battle. The call comes for your medevac to go to the scene. As you approach the fighting, you hear the sounds of artillery and smaller guns. Bill, the pilot, hovers over a group of Marines who have had casualties. He lands the chopper, and you help George get to the wounded men onto it. Even before you lift off, George is treating the injured. He wraps bleeding wounds and gives the men medicine to kill their pain. Soon you are speeding off to the hospital at Chu Lao. The battle goes on all throughout the day, and your chopper flies several more missions. You feel your stomach turn as you see horrendous injuries, such as arms and legs blown off. I'll try not to look, Bill tells you, as you make your 4th trip out. Seeing all that blood and guts might make it too hard for me to fly this thing. You land and begin helping George with the next group of injured men. Back in the air, you hear gunfire, and it's close to your Huey. More shots come, and dozens of them rip into the chopper. George slumps down as one of the bullets hits him in the head. As you go to help him, the helicopter starts to spin wildly. Oh no! I can't control it, Bill says. We're going down! You think about your family back home and all you had hoped to do when you got back from Vietnam, but the helicopter crashes hard and you die instantly. Oh no, we died! Oh no, to the end! How did that go so bad? Wow. Are we not gonna successfully complete any missions tonight? Is that what's gonna happen? This is not good. All right, so let's go fourth path. We died in a helicopter crash.
Wait, didn't we already know how to time that?
Oh no! Billy, I agree with you. I don't think there are good endings. I think we should skip to the end and see if I can find a good ending here. Oh no! What, does anyone, before we end for the night and I read the final conclusion, I know, James, you're totally right, war is never good. But before I end for tonight and read the final conclusion, is there any paths that you want me to go through and check real quick? What are you straw polling here? Is there any good options? I'm going to say yeah. I bet you there is a good option. I'm going to find it. Like, if we are the teenager and we choose to stay in the village. So we're going to stay in the village as the teenager. Want to do that one? The fighting is spreading. The South Vietnam needs more soldiers. President Ngo Diem has called for all younger men than 28 who have graduated from high school to receive ballistic military training. I said ballistic, basic military training. All right. You never finished high school because your parents needed your help on the farm, but you see troops stationed nearby. Some are Buddhist, like you. Others are Roman Catholic, like President Diem. Your father worries about the spreading of violence. The Viet Cong threaten local farmers to give them help or to be killed. One day your father says to you, "It's not safe for you here. We want you to go to Saigon to live with your aunt." "But what about the farm?" you ask, "and all your friends are here in the village." But then you think that it might be exciting to live in the big city of Saigon. So let's say we're going to stay in the village. "I should stay here in the village to help you if the fighting gets worse," you say. To try to protect the villages in your area, the government has created what it calls strategic hamlets. South Vietnam receives money from the United States to carry out this plan. The government clears land in areas where it's easy for the VC to defend its citizens. A group of soldiers forces your family into this new village. The strategic hamlet feels more like a prison, with barbed wire surrounding the homes and farmland. The government keeps troops in the village for part of the year. When the rainy season comes, the South Vietnamese army pulls back to their main bases. The soldiers give you and the other men guns. "If the Viet Cong come back," an officer says, "you'll have to defend yourselves." For a couple of years, you and your family live safely in the strategic hamlet, but one rainy season, you see armed men approaching the village. "Viet Cong," your father says. The men of the village had already agreed they would not fight if the communists came to the village. It's better to not resist them than risk having everyone killed. The Viet Cong gather all the men in the center of the village. "Look at what the government does to us," one of the Viet Cong leaders says. "They force us off our land and put us behind barbed wire. Is that the way you want to live? Join us and bring justice and equality to South Vietnam." You hate that the government forced you off your home. But could you fight your own government? After all, your brother is in the South Vietnamese army. Even so, you're tired of foreigners trying to control Vietnam. All right, so here's I think one of our last choice. Do we stay in the village or do we go with the Viet Cong and join the North? So this is a serious village here, serious decision. The question I'm not really sure about is like, if we don't go to Viet Cong, do you think they're gonna kill us? I don't know. What do we do? I don't know. Let's take a look, guys. Here we go. We're taking a look. Alright, stay in the village or go to VC. I don't know. I feel like staying in the village is smart, but I feel like if we stay in the village, they're gonna kill us. I feel like they're gonna kill us. How's the music going, by the way? I'm gonna stay in the village. I don't want to join the North. Oh my lord, it's tied right now, 50-50. Come on, guys, vote. This is the last one of the night. Do this for Kyle. He just started watching Survivor 1 minute ago. Vote for Kyle. I feel we have to survive this one, guys. This is serious. So don't vote this one for safety, please. All right, 5-2. We're staying in the village. We're gonna die. I know it. Here we go. We're staying in the village. Back to the library to finish this up. The story. Here we go. Staying in the village. Here we go. You ready? I'm no soldier, you say. I'm just a farmer. You're a fool, a Viet Cong leader says. You should fight for your freedom. Then the soldier goes over to another farmer, Nugent, who begins pointing at various men. Other Viet Cong approach these men and force them at gunpoint to leave the village. What's happening? You ask your father. Nugent must be working for the Viet Cong, and now they're taking away anyone who strongly supports the South Vietnamese. To the communists, anyone who helps the government is a traitor. One of the men being led away is an old farmer named Locke. He has several sons in the army, but so do many of the farmers. You run over to the Viet Cong who is taking him. He's just an old man. Leave him alone. Mind your own business, the fighter says. No, you reach out toward him. Uh-oh. The fighter swings the butt of his rifle at you, knocking you to the ground. Stay there if you know what's good for you, the fighter says. Locke looks at you as he leaves the village. You see tears in his eyes. A few seconds later, you hear gunshots. The Viet Cong have killed all the men they took away. You hear the screams of the wives and daughters of the men who had just been killed. Your father pulls you up. You could have gotten killed too. We should just mind our own business. You say nothing, but you know what you must do. The first chance you get, you head to the South Vietnamese base and join the army so you can fight the Viet Cong. You don't want any more men like Locke to die for no reason. That's the end right there. Boom. All right, so this one is, it's kind of mixed. Like, honestly, like, you live, we made it. We ended up joining the South Vietnamese army and could have died. So there's a little button on the book to finish up that just says, read the conclusion. So I'm going to hit that. Here we go. Richard Nixon was elected U.S. president in November 1968. He said he wanted peace and honor in Vietnam. He said South Vietnamese troops should do more of the fighting. They received more military aid from the United States, and the U.S. troops began coming home. Nixon also ordered more bombing of communist bases in Cambodia. That prompted intense protests on college campuses across the United States. Still, a peace treaty between North Vietnam and the United States was not signed until January 1973. The war cost many lives. Slightly more than 58,000 Americans either died or went missing during the war. More than 300,000 Americans were wounded. After the U.S. combat troops left, the South Vietnamese still battled the communists. Nixon had promised South Vietnam continuing military aid. The American people in Congress, though, were tired of the war in Southeast Asia. The lawmakers cut back on military aid. The North and South Vietnamese continued to fight until the communists had won the war in 1975. Between 1965 and 1975, across all of Vietnam, about 3 million people died because of the war. U.S. President General Ford offered amnesty to draft evaders in September 1974. They would not be punished if they took jobs helping the public. In 1977, President Jimmy Carter pardoned all who had evaded the draft. Men who had left the country would not be punished if they returned. The end of the Vietnam War did not end debate about the American role in it. Some scholars thought U.S. leaders ignored the deep desire of many Vietnamese to end foreign influence in their country. U.S. leaders also feared they would be criticized by some Americans if they did not stand up to communist nations. Some military leaders claimed the United States could have won the war by expanding the fight into North Vietnam, but President Johnson in particular did not want to risk directly bringing the Soviet Union or China into the war by doing that. The Vietnam War also sparked a huge movement of people from Southeast Asia to the United States. By 2010, the United States was home to 2.5 million people who had come from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Some left Vietnam after that country improved its ties with the United States. President Bill Clinton started official relations with the communist government there in 1995. 2 years later, Douglas Peterson arrived in the Vietnamese capital of Hanoi to become the first U.S. ambassador to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. He, like many Americans who served in the war, went back to the land where they had fought many years before. So that's the conclusion of the book. I do know a little. My wife's sister is married to a Vietnamese person who moved from Vietnam, so that's kind of awesome. The United States and Vietnam today are very friendly. I know President Barack Obama went to Vietnam and actually visited the country, and that was obviously in the 2000s, and it was the 2010s. And, it was a big step considering that we fought this big war with them a long time ago. But that is the Choose Your Own Adventure. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's pretty much the whole book. I mean, for the most part, we read like 80% of the choices. And most of them turned out bad. So before we leave the stream for tonight, I do just want to go over our results. Let's go over the results, shall we? The results are not good. They're not good at all. I'm going to hide myself. Oh, hold on. So, let's... All right, so our first path failed with us getting caught, and we became a prisoner of war, which is never good. We were a U.S. soldier. That's the one we stayed with John in the infantry, and he ended up dying. It was sad. The second path, we were captured and tortured. We were a South Vietnamese teen. We went to Saigon, and it didn't turn out good for us. We were a spy for it was bad. The third path, we were a protester. We went to Chicago with our friend Bobby and his sister Rosemary. We ended up running like cowards, and we got hit in the head with a nightstick maybe, and we ended up going to the hospital. I guess we lived, so yay, that's good. And then our fourth path was probably our worst one. We joined the helicopter. It was definitely the most exciting one, but unfortunately we were shot down, or the pilot got shot, and the helicopter crashed, and we died on impact. So pretty sad stuff. And then the last one we just did, again, we were the South Vietnamese teen who stayed in the village. And that one, we ended up joining the South Vietnamese army. And I who knows if we lived or died. I don't know, but it wasn't good. So that's the outcome of our that is definitely the outcome of our Choose Your Own Adventure Vietnam edition. I hope you guys had fun doing this. I kind of had fun reading it to you. Please give me some feedback how it was. It was kind of hard because I would have made like straw polls like Derek did, which Derek, you super helped. Thank you so much, because it was kind of, I didn't know what decisions you guys were going to make, so it was kind of hard to do straw polls. Obviously, I think the point, James Deedy kind of said it best, and that is most of the outcomes are going to be bad because war is bad. War is never a good thing, and so it's rare that someone goes and like, even if we went to war and we lived and we came home safe, we still could have PTSD and trauma and injuries and all things that are going to affect us the rest of our lives. So war is never necessarily a good thing. And that's it for tonight, guys. I hope you have a good night. It's now 8 o'clock. Go support Kyle and watch some Survivor. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's lesson is going to be at 9:30 because I have a meeting at 10. That's it, guys. Good night. Jay, did you have fun? Yup, he had fun. That's all that matters. Let's go back to the library one more time, shall we? The library. The library.
What is the library?
This is the library right here.
Oh, like with all the decisions?
This is my fancy library in the house. Ugh. Right here.
Oh, where's one?
Come in the library.
There's no. Oh.
See? You're in the
Okay.
library, Jay.
Lot.
Have you read all these books? Have you read? Listen, tonight before bed, you have to read every single book in this library.
Alright. Done. They're not even real.
Get out of here. Goodbye, everyone.